This is a time capsule that has been sealed for 50 years. Inside are drawings of the future imagined by the first group of students. As the time capsule is opened, the principal begins to randomly hand out the letters inside to the students. As the letters are opened one by one, some students see drawings of rockets, while others see visions of future technology. But when Keller opens his, he finds a sheet of paper covered with rows of numbers. The boy is confused, not knowing what they mean. He takes it home and shows it to his father. John, an astronomy professor, is extremely sensitive to numbers. To help his son solve the mystery, he decides to study them. He randomly writes a string of numbers on the board. 9110129996. What could they mean? John tries separating them into different groups to look for a pattern, but nothing seems to fit. So he tries again and again until a sequence that looks like a date appears before his eyes. September 11th. He has no idea what it means. So John looks it up online out of curiosity and is shocked to discover that it is the date of the September 11th terrorist attacks in 2001. Even more bizarre, the number 2996 is the exact number of victims. This letter was sealed in 1959, more than 50 years ago. Was it just a coincidence? Or could the person who wrote it really predict the future? John becomes fascinated. He writes all the numbers on the whiteboard and checks them one by one on the computer. To his surprise, every major disaster that has occurred over the past few decades matches the numbers on the paper, whether it's the date or the number of deaths. Everything matches perfectly. In other words, the person who wrote the letter successfully predicted the timing of every future disaster. However, there are still some numbers he can't figure out, which makes everything even stranger. The next day, John goes to the university, tells his colleagues about his discovery, and brings up a serious concern. There are several dates on the paper that can't be verified yet because they haven't happened. But based on the latest date listed, a disaster is supposed to occur in 2 days, claiming 81 lives. Although all the previous numbers match disasters that already happened, John still isn't sure whether another disaster will really occur in 2 days. Even so, just to be safe, he hopes his colleagues will help analyze the information to see if they can identify the exact location and prevent the tragedy before it happens. After hearing him out, his colleagues believe John must be mentally unstable. They think it's all meaningless and tell him to go home and get some rest. Seeing that none of them believe him, John realizes his theory alone will never convince anyone, so he goes home and keeps watching the news. The date written on the paper finally arrives, but after waiting the entire day, there are no reports of any major disasters on TV. Coincidentally, it is raining that day. John is on his way to pick up his son from school. While stuck in traffic, he calls his colleague to apologize for what happened earlier. Maybe he really was overthinking everything, but at that moment, he accidentally notices the latitude and longitude coordinates on his car's navigation system. John immediately thinks about the numbers on the paper that he couldn't figure out. He quickly takes it out and compares them carefully. Sure enough, those extra numbers are actually the coordinates of a location. Unfortunately, the place predicted for today's disaster is right nearby. At that moment, traffic ahead is completely backed up. Could an accident really have happened? John rushes forward to ask a police officer, but the moment he opens his mouth, the officer suddenly turns pale and runs away.